The siege of Erebor turned the passing of days into a sluggish affair. The dwarves passed the time by piling and ordering their shares of the treasure. Thorin now spoke openly of the Arkenstone of Thrain, bidding the dwarves to seek it in every corner.
For the Arkenstone of my father is worth more than a river of gold, and to me it is beyond price. That stone of all the treasure I name to myself, and will be avenged on him that finds it and withholds it.
Dear me, what would become of me if the dwarves found the Arkenstone wrapped in my pillow? Still, if Thorin places such a great value on it, perhaps I can find a use for it.
When a few more days had passed, Roic, the elderly bird of Ravenhill, returned to them with news of Dane. The dwarf lord were 2 days' march from the mountain.
But they cannot reach the mountain unmarked, and I fear there will be a battle in the valley. Even if you overcome the host that besets you, what will you gain? Winter and snow are hastening behind the dwarves. How will you feed yourself without the friendship of the lands about you? The treasure is likely to be your death, though the dragon is no more.
Winter and snow will bite both men and elves, and they will find it grievous to bear with their dwellings in ruin. With my friends behind them and winter upon them, they will be in a softer mood to parley with.
After hearing this, Bilbo's mind was made up. That night, when the new moon left the sky very dark, he slipped out to the makeshift wall the dwarves had built with the coil of rope and the Arkenstone in his coat pocket. Bombur sat atop the hill, for it was his turn to watch. He greeted Bilbo with a shiver.
Oh, it is mighty cold tonight, Mr. Baggins. I wish we could have a fire up here like they do in the camp.
It's warm enough inside.
I dare say, but I am bound here until midnight. This has become a sorry business altogether. Not that I venture to disagree with Thorin, may his beard grow ever longer, but if there was ever a dwarf with a stiff neck...
Not as stiff as my legs. I'm so tired of stone passages and steps. What I wouldn't give for the feel of grass beneath my toes.
I would give more for a hot meal in my belly, a strong drink in my throat, and a soft bed to lie in afterward.
I couldn't give you those, I'm afraid. Not with the siege going on. But I'll take your watch. There's no sleep in me tonight.
You're a capital fellow, Mr. Baggins, and I take your offer kindly. If there is anything to note, rouse me first, mind you. I'll lie down in the inner chamber to the left, not far away.
Off you go then. I'll wake you at midnight so you can wake the next watchman.
As soon as Bombur had gone, Bilbo slipped on his ring. It was unlikely anyone, even Philly or Killy, would come out to the wall when it was not their watch, and Bombur would sleep soundly. Ever since the misadventure in Mirkwood, Bombur was always trying to recapture his beautiful dreams of food. Bilbo made his way down the wall and set off for the camp of the besiegers. A small stream ran between the wall and the camp, and in the dark of the new moon, Bilbo had difficulty finding it. Shallow but cold, Bilbo stepped across the stones, poking above the surface. He was nearly across when he missed his footing and landed in the stream with a plunk.
That was no fish. Hide your lights. They will help him more than us if it's that queer creature said to be their servant.
Servant indeed. Let's have a light. I'm here if you want me.
Bilbo removed his ring and stepped out of the stream.
Who are you? How did you make it so far past our sentries?
Are you the dwarves' hobbit?
What are you doing here?
I'm Bilbo Baggins, companion of Thorin. I know your king well by sight, though I doubt he'll remember me. But Bard will remember me, and it's Bard I particularly want to see.
And what business do you have with our lords?
Whatever it is, it's my own, my good elves. Now, if you ever hope to leave this cheerless place and see your woods again, you'll take me to a fire where I can dry off, and then to your lords as quickly as possible. I've only got an hour or two to spare.
And so it was that Bilbo found himself next to the fire in front of a large tent, with the eyes of Bard and the Elven King upon him. taking in the bizarre picture. A hobbit, wearing elvish armor and partially wrapped in an old blanket, was something new to them.
Really, things have become quite impossible. Personally, I'm tired of the whole affair. I wish I was back home in the West where folk are more reasonable. But I have an interest in the matter. 1/14th share, to be precise. According to the letter, which, fortunately, I believe I still kept. A share in the profits, mind you. Personally, I am only too ready to consider all your claims carefully, and deduct what is right from the total before putting in my claim. However, you don't know Thorn Oakenshield like I do. He is quite prepared to sit on a heap of gold and starve as long as you sit here.
Well, let him. Such a fool deserves to starve.
Quite so, Bard, and I see your point of view. At the same time, winter is coming on fast. Before long, you'll have snow and whatnot, and I imagine getting supplies will be difficult, even for elves. Also, there will be other difficulties. Have you heard of Dane and the Dwarves of the Iron Hills?
We have, long ago. But what have they to do with us?
I thought as much, my good king, and it seems that I have some information that you do not. Dane, I may tell you, is now less than 2 days away, and 500 grim dwarves march with him. When they arrive, there may be trouble.
Why are you telling us this? Are you betraying your friends, or are you threatening us?
My dear Bard, don't be so hasty. I've never met such suspicious folk. I'm merely trying to prevent trouble for all concerned. And I've come to make you an offer.
Let us hear it.
You may see it. It is this.
Bilbo pulled the Arkenstone from his coat pocket, and even the Elven King, whose eyes were accustomed to such things, gaped at its beauty. Bard admired it in grim silence. The globe shone as though the light of the absent moon had come down to rest in the hobbit's palm, casting a net of frost stars about the campfire.
This is the Arkenstone of Thrain. It is the heart of the mountain, and also the heart of Thorin. He values it above a river of gold. I give it to you. It will aid in your bargaining.
So Bilbo, not without a shudder and a glance of longing, passed the marvelous stone to Bard. The grim man stared into the stone, mouth wagging as he tried to form words.
But how is it yours to give?
Oh, well, it isn't really, but I'm willing to let you stand against my whole claim. I may be a burglar, or so they say, but I've never truly felt like one, and if I was, I'd hope to at least be an honest one. I'm going to go back to the mountain now, and let the dwarves do with me what they will. Hopefully it'll be useful to you.
Bilbo Baggins, you are more worthy to wear that armor than many elf princes who have looked more comely in it, though I doubt Thorin Oakenshield will see it so. I advise you to stay with us, where you will be honored and thrice welcomed.
Thank you very much, I'm sure. But I really don't think I'd leave my friends like this, after all we've gone through together. And I promised to wake old Bomber at midnight. Really, I must be going, and quickly.
Nothing they could say would stay him, so they sent him back across the stream with an escort, and both the Elven King and Bard saluted Bilbo as he departed. As the escort passed through the camp, an old man wrapped in a cloak walked from his tent towards Bilbo.
Well done, Mr. Baggins. There is always more to you than anyone expects.
Gandalf! How? And why?
All in good time, my lad. Things are drawing towards an end now, unless I am much mistaken. There is an unpleasant time in front of you, but keep your heart up. You may come through it all right. There is news brewing that even the ravens have not heard. Good night.
Puzzled, but cheered, Bilbo hurried on. His escort set him across the stream dry and snuck quietly back to his rope and climbed up the wall. He woke old Bomber, ignoring the thanks he felt he hardly deserved, and lay down. He tossed and turned for a moment, wondering anxiously what might happen next, until weariness overcame him and he fell into a quiet sleep until morning. As a matter of fact, he dreamt of eggs and bacon